This is Chapter 17, World War II, Discussion Number 2, Germany Almost Wins the World. So on September 1st, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. Soviet Union invaded Poland. Great Britain and France realized that Hitler was never going to stop, and they declared war on Germany. The Germans had perfected the form of modern warfare which they called Blitzkrieg, lightning war, the use of tanks and air power to strike quickly and effectively. They ran over Poland in about 6 days. The German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, successfully bombed Poland infrastructure till there's practically nothing left. And so Germany then turned its attention to France. Now the French, remember, they had built the Maginot Line defense, 100-mile fortress. But Germany went through Netherlands and Belgium, again, through an area that many people thought was impossible to invade through. But with German technology and the new weapons of World War II, it didn't seem to be that hard. The British forces ended up being trapped against the North Sea, and they were almost obliterated except for the miracle at Dunkirk. The British sent every possible vessel from rowboats to sailboats, pleasure boats, freighters, in order to save as much of the British army as possible. They were able to save 300,000 of the British army through the miracle at Dunkirk. So, with the British no longer able to help the French, Germany defeats France and establishes a favorable government to themselves in the territories from France that they didn't move their military through, called the Vichy government. Some leaders of France, though, did escape, and they did organize a resistance to the German domination of France. Most importantly and most famously, Charles de Gaulle was one of these leaders. It was at this point that Hitler held most of Europe. However, he didn't have Great Britain, and Great Britain was still there and was still causing problems. Hitler's plan was to take Great Britain. However, the British Royal Air Force defense against the Luftwaffe really was able to withstand any idea of Germans' land offensive against Great Britain. So Germany started bombing English cities. This was known as the Blitz. So, when we get to 1940 into 1941, we see that the Axis powers are pretty much controlling almost all of Europe and North Africa. And they've pretty much won everything. Hitler realizes that he's still got one big monster on the European continent, and that is the Soviet Union. Hitler decides to break the Nazi-Soviet pact that was signed in August of 1939 to attack the Soviet Union to get the raw materials in June of 1941. Hitler invaded with 3 million, and the Soviet Union, actually trusting Hitler, actually was unprepared for the Nazi attack. Soviet Union, as it has done in many other attacks of Russia, used the scorched earth policy against the Germans, trading land for time, burning all the materials and all the things that could be used by the German army behind them so that the Germans would be unable to sustain themselves off the land that they were conquering. And the Germans, like Napoleon, were caught in the Russian winter. They laid siege to Leningrad for over 2 years. Stalin begged the Western powers of Great Britain and whatever was left of France to please start a defense or attack on Germany around France to take off some of the German army away from him in the Soviet Union. Hitler at this establishment, remember that he believed that light-skinned Europeans were the master race. They ransacked any of the other nationalities, shot prisoners, and occupied their territories. They created concentration camps as detention centers for all these undesirable nationalities, including the Jews, to either be worked to death or first. The Jews became a specific target for Hitler, as he advocated for the final solution to make Germany the greatest nation in the world and to get rid of all the Jews. It was his final solution. When this was becoming known and Jews were specifically, Some Europeans hid Jews from Germany, but other countries did not. And this amounted to a large amount of guilt among the winners of World War II as they saw the complete totality of what Hitler was doing to the Jews and gathered for the Jews a lot of sympathy, which then coalesced into giving them a nation in Palestine, which is now called Israel. Germans did not hold the monopoly on savagery and moral decay. The Japanese treated their conquered enemies with savage brutality, including the Bataan Death March as the conquered troops in the Philippines, and anyone else they conquered were essentially eliminated in the name of Japanese superiority. This concludes discussion number 2. Germany almost wins the world.